Hello, everyone. My name is John Brenneman. I want to thank everybody for joining us for today's webinar with our good friend Bret Dalgaard from Viking River, Viking Ocean, and Viking Expeditions. It's going to be a fun webinar today, so thanks for joining us. A couple of quick things before we get started. I always mention at the start of these, we are recording this webinar, so later this evening, a few hours from now, you will get an email with a link to this video will be posted to YouTube, so you'll get a link to YouTube if you would like to review this email or share it with your friends or anything like that. So be on the lookout for that email. Uh, it takes a few hours for us to download it from Zoom and then upload it to YouTube, but it should be this evening relatively early. I'm going to real quick run through MOA vacations. I think the majority of the people have attended previous webinars, but we do like to tout the reason we are MOA's travel agency and kind of what makes us different. Then I'm going to turn it over to Bret. While Bret is giving his presentation, we will do a Q&A at the end of his presentation, but I will be answering questions during his presentation. If you take your cursor to the bottom of your screen, or if you're on a tablet or a laptop, or excuse me, a tablet or a phone, you should be able to go kind of at the bottom with your finger. You should see a little menu with a number of icons. If you have any questions, there's a little conversation bubble that says Q&A in that. Just click on that and type in your questions. Any questions that I answer during Bret's presentation, we'll revisit at the Q&A at the end and give Bret an opportunity to answer as well. And if you do not see that icon on the far right, there should be a circle with three dots in it. It says more. Click on that, and that will show you all the icons to make sure if you have a question, you can go ahead and type it in right there. Okay, real quick. MOA vacations, kind of what makes us unique. We've kind of boiled it down to four key points. I'm going to go through these very quickly. If anyone has any questions about MOA vacations, why we're the official travel agency for MOA, kind of what makes us special, feel free to reach out to me. I love talking about the agency, my staff, and everything we do for MOA members. But real quick, we talk about our superior service. We actually provide a concierge level of service. There's a lot of things that go into this, but the way we just kind of summarize this is the fact that we guarantee your satisfaction if you book through us. We are the only travel agency in North America that makes this guarantee. So if you have any problems either before or during your trip, you actually reach out. In almost all instances, you're going to talk directly to me, and then I reach out to Bret. If it's Viking, if we ever have any Viking issues, which is a rarity if ever. But let's say whoever you're on, Princess or, Insight Vacations or Colette or Region, I could name all the different vendors. But if you have an issue, you speak to me and then I speak to one of the executives at that cruise line or tour company. We get it resolved. Industry standard typically is 6 to 8 weeks. If you've ever had a problem before, we get back to you within 48 hours. On the rare occasions I'm unavailable, which would probably be if I was escorting a MOA group, Mike Tyrell, our VP, will help you out. So you go immediately to one of the top two execs here at MOA Vacations. We get that resolved for you. We do guarantee the lowest price. If you go to the Viking website, you get Viking emails. I know a lot of people that do a lot of business with Viking are always getting promotional offers and everything like that. I know Bret will mention this as well, but there are no Viking promotions that you cannot get through MOA Vacations. We do offer free amenity programs. For example, we have the one right now that a lot of you have probably seen, which is $100 per person onboard credit on any 26 or 2027 Viking River or Viking Ocean cruise. So that would be in addition to the lowest price, and then finally, group opportunities. Being MOA's travel agency, we do have the opportunity for you to go on a cruise and travel with your fellow MOA members from across the country. Okay, so that's kind of the 180-second overview of MOA vacations. I know everybody logged in to hear Bret talk about Viking. So without any further ado, Bret, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, John, and thank you all for joining. Really want to give you a chance to learn a little bit more about Viking, exploring the world in comfort. I know in the past and hopefully today, a little mix of those who may have sailed with Viking before in the past, also some new to brand, those who may not have sailed but have likely heard of Viking, as we kind of are the household name for river cruising and have become a staple in ocean and expedition sailings as well. As mentioned, my name is Bret Dalgaard. I've been with Viking a little more than 8 years. I had the chance to work on board the vessels as an excursion manager and a hotel general manager. So the information I'm sharing is authentic. It's firsthand knowledge, and really want to give you a chance to see the places that you can go and visit and understand the history and the culture and the world. I really want to entice you to want to travel, and so really a beautiful world out there, and it's an incredible world, and it's so much can be seen with Viking. More than 90 countries, 500 ports of call, 21 different riverways. We're going to all 7 continents, down south to Antarctica, up north to the Arctic, Australia, New Zealand, closer to home, North America, South America. Really, if you can imagine going there on a river or an ocean, we can take you there. And we do it a little bit different, being that we're destination focused, culturally enriching, and carefully curated. Destination focused, the big part of that is that we stay in ports longer than many of the other ships. The destination is critical to us, and that's why we travel. So the ship is, of course, your home away from home, great service on board, but the ship isn't the destination. The destination is the destination. So we're those small ships taking you to the hearts of cities and landscapes, to be able to be immersed in the culture. And that's why we're culturally enriching. We want you to understand the music, the art, the all the culinary experiences. We really want you to be fully enriched with all of that when traveling, and then of course carefully curated. Every decision that Viking makes very, very intentional, from the places that we travel to, the menus that we serve on board, and of course the crew that we hire. We really hire some of the best crew in the industry, train them to give you that world-class service, and you'll come home with just as many memories and experiences from the places you visited as the experiences and how our crew take care of you through that high level of service. Now, Viking, we're promising you a lot, and we really want to give you an incredible value, but we also want you to understand that we're not everything to everyone. We're no children, no casinos. We say we love to travel with our children and grandchildren, but not everybody else's. So this is a nice way to travel with all adults. So 18 and up is our standard on our ships. So nice way to travel with all adults, to be with curious-minded, destination-focused guests, and give you a chance to see and explore in a little bit more enriching way. Now, the destination, again, is that focus through and through, no matter where we go. We dock in the hearts of locations, as you see in many of the pictures, like the one here. You know, we're walking distance into the ports and all of the museums and exploration, and we do that on river, ocean, and on our expedition ships. We're also a very inclusive product. When I was a general manager on board our ships, more than 70% of our guests would have a $0 bill at the end of a sailing, as there's very few things that can be charged while on board. And those who did have any charges may have been that they went to the gift shop and they purchased something to take home, or they went to the spa on the ocean ships to have a deep tissue massage. But there's really not a lot for upcharges, because we have so much included from day one. We're very efficient as an operator with the design and the way that we operate our vessels to pass that value again back to you all, our guests. And of course, I'm a little biased with the last point, but I think we hire some of the best crew in the industry, but we also have some of the highest retention, more than 8 years on average that our crew have worked for Viking. That really goes to show how we take care of our crew, and then our crew are able to take care of you all, our guests. But they are also very knowledgeable with not only that high level of service, but knowledgeable with the ports of call and the places that we travel to, and can share about different cafes or places to go shopping, or to pick up any pharmacy items, things like that. We really have some of the best crew in the industry, and they love to take care of you all. Now, we like to say we're the thinking person's cruise, not the drinking person's cruise. I, of course, point out this picture with everybody having a glass of wine, but the chef along with to explain the pairings. We have those enrichment focused guests that want to see and explore each day. And so they'll have a great glass of wine, but want to understand the history of the wine of that region, or the beer, or the different spirits. And so enjoying all of that, but then, of course, waking up first thing in the morning to go off and see and explore. And so not wild party ships, but very much full of music and entertainment and enrichment. But then those little bit more sophisticated moments where the chef can come and share about the wine pairings and why we have so much to share in these regions. Of course, as we travel, we're going to go off and see and explore. All of our excursions give you a chance for more enrichment, more history, culture, maybe a private concert. We really want to highlight that. We bring on destination performers, local presentations, history, locals, sharing about the history, port presentations. We really have a lot for you, included curated libraries. We really want to give you a chance to see and understand the history up close. And of course, connecting with like-minded travelers. All of our travelers are curious minded themselves and want to share about maybe past travels or future travels, maybe share about the research they've done about traveling on this particular itinerary. So guests really do meet lifelong friends when traveling, whether that be on our excursions or sitting down to dinner and sharing dinner with another couple you may not have met before. Of course, the destination enriched experiences continue into the dining room, where our menus really focus on that culinary experience from the locals. And so every day in our main dining room, you're going to be able to enjoy those destination focused items, but you'll also have what we call our always available, some of those American classics. So a Caesar salad, chicken, salmon, steak, all of those are available every day for you. But then we'll have an appetizer, soup, main course, and dessert, all focused on the port of call or the region that we're sailing in. So you have a chance to try some of that local food. We'll also have regional dishes and some international dishes. So each day you can choose to have something a little bit more comfortable, or try something a little bit more exotic. Try some frogua or frog legs or something that you've never tried before. And again, in the comfort of that five-star dining on our ship. We'll also give you a chance to see and taste while off on the excursions, but we'll bring a lot of those items back for main events like our Taste of event, where we'll highlight the region, whether it be Taste of France, Taste of Bavaria, Taste of Holland, and we'll have a whole spread of that regional dishes and drinks, and then of course plated meals as well that you can pick and choose what you'd like to enjoy. We really want to highlight again the destination and celebrate that through all of the tastes of the region. I mentioned our inclusive value, and this is from day one that all of our guests receive free bottled water, Wi-Fi, specialty coffee, and all the beer and wine. So much from day one is included, so there's not upcharges, and we don't nickel and dime. We have no art galleries where we have art auctions, or the photo kind of team that does all the pictures and tries to sell you those for an upcharge. We really want to make sure so much is included from day one, and we're not looking to nickel and dime. One of the other big items every day, we have an included excursion. The included excursion is going to be a highlights tour, 2 to 3 hours of the main kind of focus of a destination. So you'll get to see the main kind of landmarks. So if we're in Livorno, Italy, we're going to take you to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. You're going to get to drive along the coast, heading there, see some of the beautiful coastline, have a guided tour around Pisa through the markets, going over to see the Leaning Tower, maybe having about half an hour of free time to go up in the tower if you wish, or going to taste some gelato or do some shopping before a drive back along the coast of Tuscany, seeing the edge of Tuscany and learning of its history, and then reaching back over to the ship. If we're in Barcelona, you're going to see the Olympic Village, maybe go down to the Gothic quarters, over to La Sagrada Familia, the main cathedral of Barcelona. Again, the highlights of those ports of call you get in our included tour each and every day, and so much to see and explore. Of course, many of our guests do choose to book airfare through Viking as well. With airfare comes our ground transportation. So when you get off the plane and you head down to baggage claim, there will actually be representatives there to meet you, greet you, and then take your bags right off the luggage carousel. And the next time you'll see them, they're going to be in your stateroom, helping you with the transfers to and from the vessel all the way back to the airport at the end of the sailing, making sure that you get ticketed and through the ticket counters. If there's any interruptions or any delays, they're going to be somebody there with you to help and guide you through and make sure that it's seamless. Many of you have traveled throughout the world and you could do it on your own, but boy, is it nice when you get to a foreign country and there's somebody to welcome you and greet you and show you the way and make sure that it's very seamless and smooth. Now, when you go ashore on our daily shore excursions, all of our excursions fall into these three categories of the local life, the working world, and privileged access. The local life is going to give you a chance to understand what locals do from day to day. It could be going into a French market and having some tastes of the different cuisines throughout that region, or going into a beer hall and tasting some of the food and beers of that region, going to Heidelberg University, touring the campus, and then sitting down and having lunch with the students to understand what life is like. The working world gives you a little bit behind the scenes. It could be going to the Kinderdijk windmills there in the Netherlands and learning about the production and how the windmills function and can potentially break down grains, but also they were used to pump the water off of the land so that life could be sustained in that region. It could be going to a vineyard and seeing the production of wine, or a farm to see productions of cheese. A lot of this is really to, again, understand how life is sustained and how production is gone throughout the years, and even up to modern tours of Mercedes-Benz factory and some of the other really neat arts of the world. And then our privileged access, exactly as it sounds, very privileged. It's going behind doors that are normally closed off to the public. It's going into the archives of museums, or going in with the gatekeeper first thing in the morning. This is a chance for you to maybe see a private concert with, say, the Vienna Boys Choir. We have a special kind of support with them. So we're a sponsor of the Vienna Boys Choir. So we're able to then tour the dormitories and learn about life for the students before a private concert. We get to go up to the top of Cologne in the Cologne Cathedral. We get to go to Highclere Castle, where they filmed the PBS series Downton Abbey. And so we get to go privileged access behind the scenes and see all of the castle and learn of its history as well as the production. All of these are partnerships and a way for you to, again, experience things that really are not buyable to the public. So each day you have an option to go on those included tours that fall in those first two categories, or some of our privileged access tours that go behind the scenes. Typically, our optional tours range from $60 to $80, depending on the experience. If you're going to a museum, an art gallery, or a cooking class, all the way up to a little bit more for something like a flight seeing, if you're going to go on a helicopter or even a plane ride over the castles and cathedrals along the Rhine River. Now, as you travel along the river, of course, the way that we travel is the Viking longships. The Viking longships are absolutely stunning, a beautiful design, large picture windows. Now, the Viking longships are the way the Vikings have traveled throughout history, but Vikings have become a little bit more modern recently. And so our Vikings make it a little bit easier. We no longer require you to row. You're able to sit back and relax. You're able to take in the scenery. One of my favorite spots is all the way up at the front of the ship, that bow. Most of the old ships, the long ships, would be a V or pointed bow. Our ships now have almost a squared off or rounded bow where you can sit out and relax. All the technical equipment's moved down below, so all of that space becomes space for you all, our guests. It's like your own front porch, but also alfresco dining, indoor, outdoor seating. Of course, that top deck where you can relax, or even use the putting greens or some of the shuffleboard courts that we have up there. Really just a place to take in the natural beauty as well as kind of the scenery as we travel along. Now, all of our rooms are outside staterooms, and as you step into the vessel, it's going to be what we call understated elegance, a nice, well-appointed ship not full of opulence with diamond chandeliers and gold leaf, but well-appointed woods and some marbles, giving you a nice, comfortable place. Your home away from home. We want you to feel comfortable. We want you to not only feel comfortable on board, but we want you to feel comfortable when you go off on tours, going off in tennis shoes and jeans during the day, and of course in the evening. If you want to come back and get dressed up for dinner, you're more than welcome to do so. But there's no required formal nights with black tie and gowns. We want you to be relaxed as you sail along and enjoy the natural beauty, but also the beautiful art on our ships and the well-appointed staterooms, because it is your home away from home, and it's kind of a way to backpack throughout Europe, but the sophisticated way where you unpack once. Now, this is that Aquavit Terrace, that bow space, beautiful rocking chairs, a place for you to sit and relax and take in the rolling hills of Austria or the castles and cathedrals of the Rhine. Now, I mentioned both those itineraries or those locations because these are some of our most popular itineraries, especially for first-time sailings. So the Rhine is going to be on the Rhine River from Amsterdam to Basel or from Basel to Amsterdam. You can sail in either direction as the river is controlled by lock and dam. Many guests do choose the direction of sailing based on where they want to spend some extra time before or after sailing. So, do you want to spend extra time in Amsterdam and see the canals, or go to the Anne Frank House? Maybe one of the beer tours oh, I'm blanking on the green bottled beer that's there, Heineken. You can go then to Basel, and you're able to go over to Lake Lucerne or spend some time in Lake Como. A lot in that region. Many guests, will come a few days early or stay a few days late. If you're going to go over and see a 7-day itinerary, you might as well spend some extra time before and after with that long haul flight. And so Viking has some great offerings for you with pre and post extensions. But once you actually get onto the river, this is where you're going to see the windmills in the Netherlands. You're going to see the Black Forest, a lot of the old castles and cathedrals along the Middle Rhine, so much of art and history, of course, the great foods and wines of this region, beers as well. Now, the next itinerary that's very, very popular is going to be on the Danube. We call this the Romantic Danube, but we also have the Danube Waltz, very similar itineraries, sailing from Regensburg to Budapest, or again, Budapest to Regensburg. You can sail in either direction, that the river is controlled by lock and dam. So the amount of time in the ports of call really doesn't matter which direction. But again, having a chance to go to Nuremberg as a pre-extension or post-extension, going up to Prague, spending extra time in Budapest. So you have many different ways to sail along the river. Of course, once you set sail, it's the rolling hills of Austria. It's almost your Sound of Music kind of itinerary, getting Mozart and Strauss as you get to Vienna, or the Vienna Boys Choir, great museums, of course, great food, wine, so much great wine in this region, but a lot of history to be celebrated. Now, if you're not sure between the Danube and the Rhine, which itinerary you're interested in first, that's where we put the two itineraries together in what we call the Grand European. Grand European sails along the Rhine and the Danube, connected by the Main Canal. Here you can sail again from Amsterdam all the way to Budapest, or Budapest to Amsterdam, sailing in either direction. Many guests, though, do like to sail from Budapest to Amsterdam. It's with the flow of the river, so you pick up a few minutes each day. But also at the end of the sailing, it's about 1 hour less flying home. So a little bit of a convenience factor for you, but so much to see along both riverways, and a nice way to do it in a single itinerary. Now, all of these itineraries can be done throughout the entire year. So you can do them in the springtime and see all the tulips and see all the flowers that are blooming throughout the region. And in the summer, some great festivals and excitement throughout the whole region. Into the fall, some fall foliage. You might even stop in to see Oktoberfest in Germany. And then, of course, towards the end of the year with the fall markets, and then into the Christmas markets. Christmas markets, very, very popular along this entire region, as well as along the Danube. The Danube River's Christmas markets, especially in Vienna, very, very popular. And that's also why John and Mike at MOA Vacations have set up a group, and so there are some group sailings that are going to be some added value. And so, if you're interested in sailing the Christmas markets on the Danube, there is a group set up to do that sailing with some special rates that are already locked in. So, if you're interested in that, do reach out because there's some additional savings that can be added there. Now, I could go on for quite a while with all of the riverways of Europe and the different offerings, but I love to talk about a few of the itineraries, especially in southern France, the Lyon to Provence. This is Avignon and Lyon. Southern France, the beautiful lavender fields, a lot of the history, going to the Palace of the Popes and learning how the Vatican actually moved to southern France. There were two popes and two Vaticans at one point, and so you learn of that history. Course, great food culture along the coast. You have the great kind of wines of that region as well. Speaking of wines, we have our chateaus, rivers, and wines, another itinerary that is in France, but this is going to be on Western France over in Bordeaux. It's a Bordeaux round trip, really focused on the history of wine production, this region, also cognac made in that region. So you get to see these beautiful chateaus and see this kind of coastal riverway. It is a tidal river, and so you'll learn of how that all works as well. But great foods and wines to be celebrated. And then, of course, northern France. We sail from Paris up to Normandy. The Paris to Normandy, a rich with history area, but also the natural beauty. And starting the itinerary and ending in Paris, you'll actually dock walking distance to the Eiffel Tower when you start your itinerary, seeing the Eiffel Tower just in the distance. You can enjoy a beautiful meal, a steak dinner with included beer and wine in the evening, looking up at the Eiffel Tower. As you set sail, though, north, you'll get to see some of the beautiful scenery along the way. And then as you reach further north, have a chance to go over to the beaches of Normandy, over to the cemetery, learn a lot of the history, the D-Day invasions, as well as some of the natural beauty of the region, some of the old historical churches and some of the production that's still in the region today. Of course, we sail a number of other riverways throughout Europe, especially around the Netherlands, but we sail a little bit further away as well. We sail in Vietnam and Cambodia on the Mekong River. This is a little bit of a land cruise sailing, so you'll get some time before and after getting to see and understand the culture, a very immersive itinerary. We again do a lot of hand holding here on this itinerary, not because you couldn't do it on your own, but it's very nice when somebody can tell you where all the Western toilets are or the restaurants that they recommend, shops that we recommend. Again, giving you that comfort and a little bit more of an immersive experience. We also sail on the Nile in Egypt. This is land cruise, and so you'll fly into Cairo, go to all the museums. We have Egyptologists, 3 per ship, that will be traveling with you from the museums, and then a charter flight down to Luxor, where you'll board the ship for 7 days, sailing along, seeing all of the history, coming back up, and then spending one more day in Cairo before departing. And a new itinerary, the wonders of India, sailing along and seeing and understanding a lot of the history, the modern history, some of the history dating way, way back, and a lot of it's still being discovered today. And so guests are able to see the beautiful landscape where it's lush landscape, and then almost like a knife, it's cut. So much to see and enjoy. Now, 10 years ago, we did launch our expedition ships, our ocean ships, able to go to the far reaches of the world, but still with that small ship feeling, going and seeing these beautiful ports of call, but having the intimacy, but all veranda staterooms. So these ships have a few more amenities, as you see. There's the main deck pools. We've got a pool in the back. We have 8 different dining options, a sports deck. We have a number of additional entertainment options, a main theater with Broadway style shows. We've got a nightclub. There's just a few more amenities to be enjoyed, but able to go really throughout the world, but small enough to get into the fjords of Norway or go to small ports of call that normally the big ships just sail right past. And so we're able to give you those great amenities. I mentioned those 8 different dining options, no additional charge for any of them. You're able to enjoy the main restaurant where we have, again, our always available menu, as well as those destination focus items. We have Manfredi's, which is going to be our Italian cuisine, Mumson's, a Norwegian deli, Winter Garden, where we have afternoon tea, British tea service every day at 3 o'clock. We have Chef's Table, which is going to be 7 course gastronomy. We have the World Cafe and Aquavit Terrace, which is cook to order stations, lots of regional dishes to be served there. The Pool Grill is going to be lighter fare, steak sandwiches, burgers, wings out by the pool, and then 24-hour room service. So much to enjoy without a single additional charge. Your stateroom is your home away from home on all of our ships. They're very, very well appointed. You'll notice things as soon as you step in, like the heated floors and anti-fog mirrors in your stateroom bathroom, all the amenities. Every stateroom has a nice refrigerator that you have some amenities in there on our ocean ships. All of our ships allow you to bring on food and drinks. So if you're looking out in a port of call and you see a bottle of wine that you want to bring back to the ship, or a local beer, you can bring that back. We allow you to bring that on, and we don't have corkage fees. I suggest taking that home with you and drinking our beer and wine. But if you do want to bring something back, you can have that in your stateroom or in the restaurants. We really have so much to the attention of detail with the bedside tables having USB plugs, having American plugs. You don't have to travel with travel adapters. We really want to give you the ability just to kick back and relax and not have to worry about the amenities or having to bring things along with you. Now, when you're looking at where we sail on our ocean ships, it really is the entire world. We sail, from North America, South America, the far reaches. I once had the opportunity to sail from Fort Lauderdale to London, but went the long way. So we went around southern South America, over to Easter Islands, to Bora Bora, to New Zealand, Australia, over to Madagascar, Mozambique, around South Africa. That's our world cruise. We have some incredible itineraries that break that up into segments, but we really do travel the entire world. It's not flat, in case you were worried. You're able to see and explore the entire world in many different small ports of call that many of the big ships would sail right by. We actually stop, and you're able to be immersed in that history and culture. Some of the three most popular itineraries are going to be a lot of heritage itineraries where guests may have lineage or history within their families. And so the most popular 4 ocean itineraries are going to be the British Isles Explorer, the Viking Homelands, and the Mediterranean Odyssey. The British Isles Explorer is going to be 15 days from Bergen to London, or London to Bergen. You can sail in either direction, getting to see Scotland and places like Edinburgh and the Orkney Islands, going around, stopping in Belfast, over to Liverpool, getting a little bit of the castles and the history, the music, trying some of the fish and chips or some of the unique foods over in Ireland before coming around, seeing the southern coast, and then ending in London, maybe staying a few extra days to go to the museums and the shows. A lot to be enjoyed in the United Kingdom. Now, we do have a variation of this itinerary called the British Isles and Ireland. That goes over onto the west side of Ireland and goes from Belfast to London. So you don't have the jaunt over to Bergen. So there is a variation, a little bit more immersed with Ireland and focused just on almost circumnavigating the UK. Now, the Viking Homelands is going to be a 15-day itinerary going from Bergen to Stockholm, or Stockholm to Bergen, giving you about 7 different countries in that single itinerary: Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Germany, Poland, and Estonia, getting to see all of those different cultures, but seeing the natural beauty, like the fjords of Norway, going all the way up the fjord of Eidfjord to see a small town right along the fjords of Norway. Our ships are small enough to get all the way up those fjords, but also we have a brand new ship that's zero emissions, so we'll be able to sail into the future in Norway, as that is a restriction they're going to have in the future. So a hydrogen ship has just been launched, and so we're going to be able to do that in the future. But then stopping in places like Oslo and down to Copenhagen and Aalborg, going to the north coast of Germany, and we charter a train for all of our guests for the day to go down to Berlin. That's our included tour. We go over to Poland, over to Estonia. There's so much of history and culture before ending in Stockholm, sailing again in either direction, but getting to learn all of that history and culture in a single itinerary. Another, our third itinerary is going to be the Mediterranean Odyssey. The Mediterranean Odyssey, one of the most popular, but we have so many throughout the Mediterranean. This one is going to be Barcelona to Venice or Venice to Barcelona, getting to see the French Riviera, seeing Marseille and that southern France along Avignon, going over to Monte Carlo and seeing some of the wealth of Monaco, going along the west coast of Italy, seeing Livorno. It's the port city for Tuscany and Florence, seeing Pisa. You get a chance to go to Rome from Civitavecchia, getting to see the Vatican and all the old buildings, the Colosseum and the Circus Maximus. Then going down to Naples, maybe trying your hand at making pizza or seeing Pompeii, Herculaneum, learning of all the history of that region. Sailing through the Strait of Messina over to the Greek island of Corfu, up along the coast of the Adriatic, seeing the Dalmatian coast of Croatia with Dubrovnik and Split before ending in Venice. So much again in a single itinerary, but so many different itineraries throughout the Mediterranean. We have two ships that are sailing throughout the entire year in both the Scandinavian and Northern Europe, and additional two ships in the Mediterranean. And so our ships don't just go back and forth along the coast, but they travel all the way along. And so all these small 8-day itineraries can actually be connected back to back. And you won't see the same port of call for almost 30 days because you're able to travel along the coast, seeing such unique ports of call, small ports of call, full of history. We really give, again, all of our excursion focused on those three different categories, being immersed with history, culture, but also if you want to go hiking or biking, we have those options for you as well. We sail throughout the entire year. So if you want to see the northern lights in the winter, you can do up in the North Cape, up in northern Norway, or in the winter, you can see the midnight sun where in the summer, the midnight sun where the sun hits the horizon at 2 in the morning and goes right back up. So that those two very different experiences. Into the Mediterranean, of course, the quiet season, one of our favorite times to visit. That's the end of fall into winter and spring. Many of the big ships will leave. A little bit quieter time for visiting museums, all of that. So much to see and explore, and a lot of times great value on airfare as well. So many ports all throughout that region. These are all the different ports that we travel to. You can circumnavigate around Iceland. You can travel along the coast of North Africa. We even have a neat itinerary that goes from Barcelona to Rome and heads south, going over to Malta, Tunisia, Sardinia, Sicily, and then up to Rome. So rather than going along the French Riviera, it heads south. We go to the Greek Isles. We see a lot of the history and culture. Really want to show some of the trade routes as well as the history of where the Vikings traveled. Now, we do also sail North America, South America. We are able to go up to Alaska. We sail from New York to Quebec through the St. Lawrence Seaway. We sail from Florida down to the Caribbean. We do a little bit different in the Caribbean, focusing really on the small Caribbean islands, the West Indies. We sail through the Panama Canal. We go up the Amazon River. Southern South America. We sailed down along the coast of South America through the Chilean fjords from Santiago, Chile, over to Buenos Aires, seeing the natural beauty, seeing Patagonia, enjoying all the food, the music culture of that region. We also sail over in the Far East, along Australia, New Zealand, Asia, getting to see Bangkok to Bali, or maybe circumnavigating Australia, seeing Auckland to Sydney. There's a lot of different options for you. These itineraries generally a little bit longer, being that you have that long haul flight. You want to stay a little bit longer to get acclimated and to enjoy all of that, but so much to see and explore. And we can also connect rivers with oceans. We can connect oceans with expedition. So if you have an idea for an itinerary, and if you don't see it directly on our website, again, that's where the team at MOA Vacations is able to look and see what they're able to see, as well as reach out to me if there ever is any questions about itineraries. 3 years ago, we launched our expedition teams, our expedition ships, the Viking Octantis and Viking Polaris, going to the far reaches, down to Antarctica, up to the Arctic, able to really see and explore and do it in comfort. These are Polar Class 6 vessels, able to break through ice, but able to actually allow you to step foot onto Antarctica using our Zodiacs, our kayaks, our special operations boats, giving you this up close experience of the penguins and the natural beauty. Also, getting the luxury and the nice comfort while on board. We have our two-tiered lounge, our Explorers Lounge, where you can see the wildlife while enjoying a cappuccino in the morning or a cocktail or glass of wine throughout the day. Again, seeing it up close, but in very comfortable ways with steam-driven fireplace out on the Finsa Terrace, or going up to the spa and enjoying our included spa with saunas, steam rooms, stone beds, all the pools. Again, so much in that included value for comfort. We also have in every stateroom large picture windows that come down so that the indoor and outdoor space become one. Pools on the top deck. So if you want to have that polar plunge, you're welcome to do so while on board. We also have the beautiful theater where we have presentations. 25 scientists and expedition team will help you to learn more about the region, about the history. You can go off with the scientists and collect, different samples of plankton or water samples, even whale snot and penguin guano, and look at those under the microscope. Or you can, again, relax on board and take in the spa and all the amenities, especially dining. So between the science and research, it's up to you how much you want to be involved. But we are NOAA Weather Station. Our teams are working with Cambridge and Cornell to share research. We found a new colony of penguins. We found a phantom jellyfish that hadn't been documented in 30 plus years. A lot of the science and research our guests are part of, and it's a lot of fun for them to see and explore together. As we set sail, we do sail from Ushuaia, but all the guests will meet in Buenos Aires before a charter flight down to sail then across the Drake Passage, going to very unique ports or kind of landing areas down in Antarctica. Each day is designed, or we have a planned itinerary, but based on the wildlife, based on ice flows, we're going to adjust the itinerary to give you the best possible experience to see and explore and be part of the science and get able to actually step foot onto Antarctica, usually about 3 to 4 days. We'll also have those Zodiacs and special operations boats, the kayaks where you're going to be able to kayak right up along with some of the glaciers and the natural beauty all around. Of course, we have a neat itinerary similar to that world cruise I mentioned earlier, but this is actually going from Antarctica up to the Arctic or vice versa, going to see both poles, learning so much in a single itinerary, going along the south or the west coast of South America through the Panama Canal, east coast of North America into the Great Lakes, and then up to the Arctic. Some really neat small ports of call along the way, history, culture, and in the comfort of those beautiful expedition ships. We do sail all 5 Great Lakes, a lot of the history as well as natural beauty, going into the Georgian Bay, seeing Niagara Falls, but also the history of the Henry Ford Museum, or music with Mozart Motown, or a rock and roll in Cleveland. We also have, going into Lake Superior and learning of some of the industries as well as the history of some of the shipwrecks and everything that comes with these incredible lakes in our own kind of backyard. Another element that's real close to home is going to be along the Mississippi. We do sail the entire Mississippi with a blended ship, so blended between our river ships and our ocean. So the lowest deck you see looks very much like those long ships of Europe, but then the ocean ships come into play with the staterooms, all veranda staterooms, large outdoor, indoor, outdoor space for all of our guests, giving you that home away from home, sailing from New Orleans all the way to St. Paul, Minnesota, and really everywhere in between. Some new itineraries on the Ohio River, but round trip New Orleans to Memphis, going from Memphis up to St. Louis to St. Paul. The river really is almost 2 different rivers from St. Louis North versus St. Louis South. St. Louis North, you've got 26 locks and dams, a lot of natural beauty. You've got German and Scandinavian settlers, a lot of the Native American history. Whereas on the south, from St. Louis South, you've got a lot of tributaries. It's the mighty Mississippi, where you've a lot more industry history with Civil War history. Then you have music history with jazz and blues and Zydeco. course, all the great foods of barbecue and Creole and Cajun. So much to see again close to home. There's a lot of different places to explore, and so Viking is kind of that way to take you in comfort. And fortunately, we've been named number one by you all, our travelers. You and your peers have been able to share about the great service. So when you are starting to look at different options, do look at somebody that's been named number one across rivers, oceans, and now our expedition ships are starting to win all these awards as well. So 5 years in a row, though, with our rivers and the oceans from Condé Nast and Travel and Leisure readers, stating that the high level of service and the value that we provide really is well worth it. Now we talk about value. There are some great savings to be gained. Right now we have our spring savings going on, our spring sale, where there's some reduced airfare up to free international airfare. Some great rates going on. It's just $25 deposit per person to lock in rates through the end of the month. And what's also great with this month is that there's additional savings. So there's some promotions going on. We have our choice sale where you can get additional shipboard credit or the premium beverage package and gratuities, or you also have the chance to get the additional $100 per person in shipboard credit for new bookings on river and ocean sailings for the next 2 years of sailing. So there's a lot to gain here in the month of April, but what's great about working with MOA Vacations is that they're able to kind of price compare and find what's going to be the best value for you, looking at the different promotions that are out there, whether that be the free airfare or different shipboard credit. They're also going to be able to look at the group sailings, the groups that they've already set up, or if you're looking at traveling with other MOA members or just a group of friends, we can set up groups for you to get additional savings. Also looking at pre and post extensions, how that's going to best benefit you. Airfare as well, looking at the promotions that we have, or if you have airfare points with a different airline, how you can utilize that through our airfare programs, or booking airfare separately. So MOA is really that added value on top of the great Viking service that's already there. So if you're kind of looking, or you have heard of Viking, you're receiving our brochures, and you think, oh, I can call Viking directly or go to the website. Of course, you're going to get great service, but you're leaving money on the table. You're leaving added value. It's like going into the grocery store without a coupon. You get the price that you see in front of you, and there's not going to be somebody saying, oh, well, you could get more savings or you could get the better product. With MOA Vacations, they're kind of that coupon. They're the added value, the added savings on top of what Viking has to offer. So you're going to already get that great service and support from Viking, but something added on top. And so traveling with local or with other MOA members can be a great way, but also just traveling with friends or family, you can get all of that promotions added on through and through. So with that, I think we're going to kind of wrap things up. And then, John, I'm sure there's a question or two that you might want to reach out to me.
Yes, of course. So just a reminder for everyone, we did have a few people that logged in a little late. We did record the webinar. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to download it from Zoom, and then we are going to upload it to YouTube. Once it is on YouTube, it actually takes a little while for that to actually complete its process. So let's say in about 3 hours, you should get an email which will have a link to the video on YouTube so you can rewatch it. We talked earlier about the MOA amenities, and Bret, thank you for that great commercial for what we do here at MOA Vacations. But everything Bret talked about, the savings, the guaranteed lowest price, the amenities, all that is for MOA members and any guests. So if there's any friends or family you want to bring with you, this is your vacation. We want it to be as much fun as possible. So feel free to invite them to join you. And along those lines, when you get the email a little bit later today that has a link to the webinar, feel free to share it with your friends and family and say, hey, look at this great deal that's going on with Viking. We are thinking of doing this ocean cruise and this river cruise and this expedition. You guys should come with us. So feel free to share that with them. So we're not going to do the Q&A. We have a couple of questions we're going to address. While we're addressing those, once again, there is at the bottom of the screen, there should be a little conversation bubble that says Q&A in it. Click on that, or does it have a question mark in it now? Did they change that? Nope. looks like it says Q&A. Anyway, just type your questions in there. We'll take time to answer all of them. If you do not see that icon on the far right, there's a circle, three dots on it that says more. Click on that and you'll see all the icons. We want to make sure we answer everyone's question. So the first question we received was about solo travel. The question was, are there any sailings on river, on ocean, and or on expedition that have zero single supplement? Um, I replied that that is extremely rare. More likely, you're going to have reduced single supplements on some sailings. And
Yes.
before I let you answer it, Brett, I always like to kind of have the back of the cruise lines on this, and the fact that, if you were to call Marriott and ask how much a room is, and they tell you it's 200 a night, that is literally $100 per person based on double occupancy, 200 for the room. So it's not unusual when there's a limited number of rooms on a cruise ship to have a single supplement. So a reduced single supplement is a rarity, not something that's obviously done fleet wide. So and I asked if Alan was looking at River Ocean or Expedition, and he asked if you could answer that question for all three.
Yeah, so typically we do have obviously our fixed costs, but we're able to do a single supplement, a reduced about 25% off of that supplement for the second person in the standard stateroom on our river ships and on our veranda stateroom on our ocean ships. Typically on all sailings, that is available. So if you're looking at a particular date, you would just go in and then through the MOA team, they would be able to ask for that single supplement in that stateroom category. Going up to other room categories, typically that is not there. But typically we have a reduced single supplement on rivers and ocean. Expedition, unfortunately, that it would be the full cost for virtually two people sailing. So
Gotcha. And to be clear, it's a 25% single supplement, correct?
it's a 25% reduction. So it would be 175 per, so the
175%.
first
Okay.
first person is 100% cost. The second one would be 75%
Okay.
of that.
Just want to make sure I had that correct. The second question was, why is the Great Lakes cruise so much more expensive than the river cruise? So I think they're talking about the per
So,
diem. I did answer that they'll also notice the per diem for the ocean cruises is higher than the river cruises in most cases. There's a lot of factors to go into it. And I did tell them you're not the one who set the prices, Brett, but I didn't know if you wanted to speak about
well,
the expeditions to the Great Lakes.
yeah. So the expedition ships, the design of the vessels and the style, there's a little bit more cost to operating those vessels, but also sailing domestically has a lot more cost. So whether it be on the Mississippi or into the Great Lakes, the cost of operation is significantly higher, and so we do have to, we can't lose money when sailing. So the cost, unfortunately, is a little bit higher for operating in those regions. We're very efficient as an operator, and if we can find ways to operate better and more efficiently, of course, we pass that value back. But the riverways of Europe, we've really, been able to fine tooth that down to having great value through and through. And hopefully, you find anybody that does sail on our expedition ships, especially into the Great Lakes, they find that once they actually get there, the value is well worth it for the experience that you get. But it is when you price compare directly expedition versus say a river, potentially you can see that per day the value is a little bit stronger on the rivers.
We get similar questions often. I mean, you look at the big cruise lines, like let's just, say Holland America. People look at 7 night Caribbean Holland America cruise, 799, 7 night Alaska is 999, 7 night Europe is a different price. Basically same ships, different itineraries. There's a lot of things that go into it. A lot of which is also demand, right? The greater demand for an itinerary also affects pricing. So, okay. And then we had, it looks like one more question in two parts. Donna asked, about the Christmas markets, December 11th to 18th. She said she'd like to participate in it, and how does she go about setting that up? That particular cruise is being handled by Steve Matthews. Donna, I don't know if you're from Florida. That is actually a MOA group that's not just a MOA group, but the state of Florida, MOA Florida. So the Florida COC is actually promoting that cruise. So it's sort of like a Florida group that is open to everyone in the country. But I will have Steve Matthews reach out to you, or you can call us. The number's on the screen, the 800-211-5107. Ask for Steve. You can email Steve, which is steve@moavac.com. But we have your email address for sure, Donna. So I will have Steve drop you an email to get you on that cruise. It'll be a fantastic cruise. So, any other questions? We're just about done time wise. So it's probably as good a time as any to wrap it up. If you're like me, you're probably going to think of questions as soon as this webinar is over, and you guys kind of reflect back on it. Give us a call, drop us an email. We're here to help. We love Viking. We book more Viking cruises for MOA members than any other cruise line. They do a fantastic job. Bret's a fantastic partner. I honestly don't remember the last time we had an issue on a Viking cruise, but if we had one, we obviously got it
Yeah.
fixed very quickly because the easy ones you don't remember, right? So we'd love to have you do. Can you put up the deal again? Mark, it'll be in the email that you get in a couple. Oh, he's going back. Yeah. So I was going to say I can tell you what it is. It will
Yeah.
be in the email, but it is $100 per person shipboard credit on 26, 27 River and Ocean. It is for the month of April, so any bookings from April 1st through the end of the month are eligible for that promotion. All righty. Bret, thank you for taking an hour out of your busy schedule to join us again today. We do these relatively frequently, so we really appreciate your time. Fantastic job, by the way, of in
Thank you.
45 minutes going through the 100+ ships that Viking has out there and all the different itineraries around the world. I'm going to turn it over to you for the final word.
Well, absolutely wonderful to share more with you all, the Moans out there, but so much to see and explore in the world. So do get out, see and explore, and if you're going to do it, why not do it with somebody that can help you to explore the world in comfort, and of course, Moa Vacations to give you that added value. So thank you so much for joining us, and get out and take care, and God bless.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.